zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's not on second and
does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Good evening and welcome to James Parfitt Broadcasting channel for Evolution Sim Racing's Ferrari GT3 series. We are looking forward to another cracking race here at Donington Park Racing Circuit in just near Derby, I think it is. It's in next to Castle Donington, home of the Download Festival, if anybody doesn't know what that is. The big heavy metal concert that's held once a year here at this venue as well. Looking forward to a double heat race here this evening in Evolution Sim Racing. We're going to have 30 minutes open qualifying, of which 15-16 minutes has already elapsed, and we're looking forward to a 20-minute duration sprint race, and then race 2 is going to be a reverse grid for the top 15 for a 30-minute duration race, which will include one pit stop. We have a reminder, of course, that we have got 14x for a drive-through penalty and 20x for a disqualification here in this series. We also have no damage and no towing allowed in qualifying either. So if we're seeing that, we're going to be giving an old rap on the back of the knuckles. With me tonight is Biggles, as always. Looking forward to some great commentary together once more. We should have some fantastic racing here at Donington Park. The oldest circuit still in use in the UK, I'm told, Biggles. What do you think about that?
The oldest circuit still in use. What about Silverstone? I thought that was older.
I think this is older. This Silverstone was in the 40s. It started racing around, and it was the 1930s this one started. But it went into disrepair, I think, for quite some time. until a Mr. Thomas Wheatley overtook it in the 70s and rejuvenated the whole place. Yeah, oldest circuit still in use. I imagine there's probably a few older ones that are just derelict now. But interesting bit of tidbit of information for you. We'll go through the championship standings at the moment then. So we've got Auramas Zelinskas, who's taking charge of the championship. It goes up on 299 points after a great weekend last time out. And it's Mark Thomas pushes himself up into P2. He's managed to have quite a few great consistent races. He won Brands Hatch Race 2 as well a few races ago, but his consistency and constant attendance has led him to P2 in the championship. So if he can hold on to that, he'll be very pleased. Paul Cowlishaw for the privateer team is managed to get himself up into P3. Raz Harper and Rhys Saunders, teammates, drops down to P5 and P6, P4 and P6, sorry, respectively, after they didn't show up last week. So they've got work to do now in the championship. And as Carl Handwerk remains in the fight for the championship in P5, even though he got a penalty last week as well. And let's follow on with the rest. We've got Alex Fretwell, who's charging up the order, and Philip McConaughey in P8 as well. He's also gained some positions as Jamie Jenkins rounds out P9 and Mark Jardine in P10. We've got Joseph Sparrow in P11, and newcomer to the league. He's already charging up the field, and Gary Mitchell in P12, followed by Scott Kostrich in P13. Mark Proctor in P14 and Shane Cotton in P15. We've got Thor Tuller in P16. Gone are the days of his high place finishes, but I believe he did rather well in the reverse grid race in one of the previous ones. But Richard Flouty follows him in P17, followed by Jimmy Covert in P18, down on 16 points. As we follow on with the rest of the championship for the pro standings. It's next on your list.
That's what you get.
Disappeared again.
Yes, you got now the AM classes.
No worries. AM results then. So James Jones, where are we? We've got Thiago Royce, is holding on to the lead still. He's got a sizable gap there with 77 points. Means he can pretty much lose an entire race or two and still retain his position. Matthew Jones in P2. He's retained that after a good week last week. Matthew Van Rens in P3. I'm wondering if, Joe Glass in P4. James Bostock in P5 continues his charge up the order after missing the first set of races. And Hussein in P6, followed by James Mukian in P7. A good weekend last time out for James. And Stephen Donnelly in P8. He's been dropping the order a few here, just getting involved in one too many incidents, I believe. But Robin Trustwell in P9, followed by Stefan Parkinson, who was at one point in the top three, is down into P10 as it stands. Gareth Newton in P11, followed by Modestas Krasauskas in P12, and Martin Lee, the famous M&M racing driver, in P13. Unlucky for some, but Robin Aston follows in P14, followed by Chris H. Keenan in P15 and Sean Clark in 16th. Followed by Graham Matthew in 17th and Stuart Briley in 18th for Team BWR. We've got Craig Charles in P19 and Adrian Hadfield in P20, followed by Jave Clark, Jack Wyborn, Rob Coleman, Eden Hadfield, and Danny Stewart making up the top 25 there. So let's go over the penalties quickly from last week as well. We've got Matthew Jones, who loses 2 points in the constructors and drivers for causing a collision lap 1 race 2. He was noted though for sportsmanlike behaviour, and it was reduced from -4 points because he gave the position back. So kudos to him for showing a bit of sportsmanship there. We've got Stephen Donnelly, who loses a race position in race 1 for causing a collision. A deep dive into Bitch Corner at VIR took out Joe Glass. And Auramas Zelinskas also loses a race position in race 2 for causing a collision. He missed his braking point and rear-ended James Bostock. And if you remember as well, I don't know if you remember this well yourself, Biggles, but we also had a bit of chaos at the beginning of start of race 2 where Carl Handwerk rear-ended Alex Fretwell, causing chaos at the front of race 1, and he loses 4 drivers, constructors, and 4 drivers and constructors points for that. Thiago Royce was also involved in 4, no less than 4 racing incidents, all with Gareth Newton at the beginning of one of the races there as well. He gets a warning for an unsafe rejoin, but because there was no collision, he does not lose the points. But that's a roundup of the penalties from last week. And we've also got a return of Saunders and Harper as well for this week, so they'll be looking to push for a win or at least a podium here today in Donington Park, which is home to one of the greatest in my opinion, greatest chicanes in motorsport. It is a full send chicane. You just chuck the car in and hope it sticks. But he's sort of saying in chat should be banned about somebody. I'm wondering if that's to do with Carl Handwerk's lap 1 mistake there. We're all human at the end of the day, Reese. We all make mistakes. Excuse me. But looking forward to this one. It's 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, 12 turns to the right, 12 turns in total, 7 to the right, 5 to the left. And this did host a single F1 race back in 1993. And unfortunately, don't have the information about who won that, but I do know that the fastest lap ever recorded here was by Alan Prost with a 1 minute 10.4 by Alan Prost in the Williams back in 1993. The GT record here is a 1:24.997 set by Ewan Hankey in a McLaren 720S this year in the 2023 in the GT3s as well. But the lap record is actually set by Kimaya Sato in a Lola BO5/52, an open wheeler British racing car, 1:17.7, the fastest lap race around here, set in 2013. But it's a great track, this Donington Park. It's tight, it's twisty, and it allows for overtakes as well, especially in slower class cars such as the GT3. But after enough talking here, and it's time for you to get involved on the action here, Biggles. It's looking forward to this one. What do you think is going to be? Got any predictions for us, or is it going to be a tight affair?
Reese is looking pretty quick there at the moment. He's pretty confident enough to even sit out this one, the qualifying at the top of the timesheet, and have a yarn to us down there in pit road. Thank you very much, Reese. He says Senna. Thought it was the Professor, Alain Prost. But anyway, going to that one. You got to give it to Stefan Parkinson as well too, mate. Look at that. He's right up the top of the time. So he was second actually for a little bit till he got replaced just before. And he's obviously, well, should be in a pro class essentially at the end of the day, isn't it? If that's on the time, but see.
I mean, his one lap pace doesn't mean that you belong in pro class, I guess. That's one part of it. But yeah, he's not having a great time of it in the AM category already in the championship. Reusser, on the other hand, down at P6 at the moment, has struggled for one lap pace over the last couple of races, and but it's still been there or thereabouts into at the end of the race, which is he may be the most likely candidate to end up in the pro category. Seen a lot of people being sideways, backwards, upside down here in qualifying at the moment, as we see. This is Spara trying to rejoin safely after a spin. But yeah, at the moment Saunders doing his usual bit of absolutely blowing the rest of the field away with his qualifying and his pace. 3/10 the lead over Zelinskas at the moment, who will be looking, hopefully, get himself a nice clean race here and gain himself some good points, because he wants to try and hold on to the lead in that championship that he's managed to gain after a good time out last week in VIR. But he did get himself a penalty as well for rear-ending the boss man, Mr. Bostock, who's down in P9 in class at the moment. He's also looking very good in the championship. You've got to say, Bostock is starting to creep up that championship order, and it's all about the consistency once we get into the meat and drink of the league. But as Reece Saunders did think, I thought that's what he meant as well. He's saying Senna won by a mile. It was where he did his legendary first lap in the wet. And now that you've reminded me of that, I remember that now. He kind of went from nowhere to P1 in the space of like 6 corners or something like that in wet conditions. Just absolutely blew everybody away with the level of grip that he knew he had in those conditions. But Senna was a master of the wet conditions, was he not?
Wasn't he? Like Schumacher as well too. Let's go, we'll find a driver. So I was wondering, Reese, do you want to get out? You've got 4 minutes and change left to qualify. Do you want to get out and give us a hot lap, Reese? So we can go on board? And that would I'd definitely like to see that one. So Stephen can give you a casting of how to drive around this track. So there you go, Reese.
I've not done much racing around this track myself, personally.
And this
but,
is also, this is a newcomer
best
to the league as well, too. Just want to put that one out there, John Ludbrook.
Mr. Ludbrook, yeah, a rookie driver in licensed class as well. He got 900 I rating. Is his first league, and it'll this be his first league race as well. So hopefully we can follow on board, give him some pointers and tips to help him
Reece
improve.
But
here
it is. Yeah,
Reece is coming out. He's heard the cry. for a lap, and yeah, we'll follow on board with him for his outlap, and hopefully avoid.
Yeah, see, this is the one thing that they did mention as well too in the race notes from race control, that exit of the pit lane, you can see how many cars were coming down there, like a lot, and there, see, there's somebody just spinning off into the forward there. I think that was John, actually. That was our new guy. Right there. So, Veronica, what if he just heard us and he got a little camera shy?
Possibility.
But, yeah, exactly. So you can see that pit lane exit is quite busy because it comes out practically when you're in a heavy braking zone. But anyway,
yeah,
speaking of
you want to
which,
be in that. You want to be blocking the pit exit off as you come into turn 1 as well, in order to open that corner up as much as you can, carry all of the speed. And, you've got to really rely on the people coming out of the pits there to stop. They've got to stop, essentially. It's a dangerous pit exit. We've got them all over in motorsport. Dangerous pit entries, dangerous pit exits. And Donington is no different, as there goes...
might be improving here.
Barra over the line. Managed to get himself on a P6, so he's coming to this league, and he's starting to gain himself a bit of a reputation for being one of the quick boys, for sure, for Sparrow. But Saunders coming through now at the final corner. Goddard's tight left hairpin before you go down the main straight, the weekly straight. He's going to take a very wide line here to give himself the best exit he can, as you would want to do for a fast lap. And it's flat out now down to Redgate, the first corner. Going to have to use all of the road on the left-hand side, crossing that little dotted line there, and it's all about carrying the speed through this one and getting all of the road used on the exit to come down through Hollywood and into Crater Curves and the old hairpin. Now this old hairpin is a tricky corner. You've got to be far to the left-hand side in order to open this right-hander old hairpin up, and it's tricky with the camber of the corner. We've got a car stuck on track. He guts away just in time. That was a brown pants moment for sure, as we come through Starkey Bridge and now through Transcurve and McLean, and down into Coppice now, the next right hander. It's a double pronged sword, this one, this Coppice. You've got to take the first apex hard and then get in the second. Ignore the second apex, essentially. You've got to try and use all the trackers. Saunders is fighting this car tooth and nail. It's down Starkey straight down into Fogarty S's. This is the chicane that I'm talking about. It is full send. You just push it in there, and those bollards are not solid in this game. You can definitely run them over, but it's very easy to get an off track there as we come finally through Melbourne hairpin and then down a short run into Goddard's. Good place to overtake here, especially if somebody gets one of these hairpins wrong. You can overtake, but it's pretty tricky to overtake into the Fogarty S's, the chicane there beforehand, because it's such a high speed chicane. It's a recipe for disaster. But that is a lap of Donington, and that is a 1:27.5 from Saunders. So just taking it easy, showing us the track. Nice Sunday drive for him there. But he's still got that 3/10 gap over Zelinskas at the moment. But Zelinskas, in the past, we've seen this. He gets absolute lightning start off the line. He has got the launch control set just so in this Ferrari, and if he can get into the lead, then Saunders may find it tricky to get past again, especially if he gets swallowed up. But Handwerk gets himself P3 at the death with a 27.495. He's been on a charge in the championship, involved in incidents almost every week. Not every single one his fault, but he definitely got a penalty last week at VIR for punting into turn 1. Took out Alex Fretwell after Alex Fretwell managed to get a rocket start in VIR. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Not long to go before we've got the 20-minute heat. But here is your grid. We've got Rhys Saunders on the front row with our Zelinskas. Following close behind, Carl Handwerk on row 2 with Stefan Parkinson with an absolute fantastic time for an AM driver up there, but boxing it with the pros. Raz Harper in P5 and Cowley Shaw in P6, followed by Sparrow in P7 and Thomas in P8. We've got Mark Jardine in P9 and Mukian in P10. A great lap from him, putting him second in his class. Joe Glass in P3 in class, P11 on track, and James Bostock in P4 in class, P12 on track as we move further down the grid. Got Scott Kostrich in P13, followed by Gary Mitchell in 14th. 15th belongs to Modestas, and 16th is Stephen Donnelly's. And Thiago Reiser down in P17. He's got a lot of work to do in order to hold on to his championship lead and get good points. We've got Chris Keenan in P18, Craig Charles P19, Hussain in P20, Matthew Jones in P21. He'll be looking to gain places as Richard Flouty is behind him. Wesley Van Ren's in P23, followed by Graham Matthew in P24. Wesley Van Ren's down in the order compared to where he normally is as we finish off the grid. It is Danny Stewart and David Clark on the next row of the grid, respectively, followed by Rob Coleman, John Ludbrook, and Joseph Preston, the two newcomers starting at the back. We are getting ready to go, though. Do you want to take the start?
No, my friend, you take the start. You're great at it. It's one thing I'm not very good at doing, but that's fine.
No problem.
The lead, so let's see what they're going to do. A nice standing start, of course, to separate the men from the boys and the ladies from the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, certainly. It's always tricky, these standing starts, because so many cars on track, so many mistakes to be made. But let's see what kind of start Zelinskas can get here in Donington Park. It looks like we've got a bit of a delay here at the moment. It's start counting down already. We've only got 80 minutes to go, but we have got the lights on the board at the moment. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and 4 and 5, and away we go. Zelinskas does get a rocket start. He's already in the lead. Jumps straight away and gets the best line for turn 1, and Saunders didn't look like his start was too shabby either, but Zelinskas just took off like the proverbial rocket, Elon Musk, in the boot of that Ferrari at the moment. But looks like a nice clean start through turn 1 as we've got a lovely single file situation going on as we come into the Craner curves, and it looks like a very, very clean start this week, and everybody has got through cleanly, and it looks like we've got some side-by-side battling going on as well. But Zelinskas absolutely took off. Will he ever look back? Or is Rhys Saunders going to be able to catch him up? Looks like he's going to have the pace. He's already closing in on him. But what a move there by Zelinskas. That's the story of the start of the race so far, as we've got a beautiful shot here of all the cars coming around McLean's. And looks like so far so good for the majority of drivers. It looks like people are starting to get used to these standing starts. And but yeah, it's Rhys Saunders got some work to do. Got Jardine overtaking Sparrow in the background there, as well as Sparrow dropping another position to Mookie, and he's going around, dropping even more. Maybe he's had a spin of some kind. And Harper as well, also dropping rapidly down the order. Spins starting to come in thick and fast as we get into the tricky, twisty section at the end of the lap. There is Raz Harper struggling to rejoin. Let's have a look at a replay of what's happened there. There's a guy lost it on his own, and the yellow Ferrari just gone for a little nap in the barrier there as it's into the chicane, and that looks like it may be Raz Harper trying to rejoin, and nice shallow angle there, we noted there, and there's contact there between David Clark, I'm not sure who else, but that is, looks like maybe just a racing incident, but that is the danger of the chicane. It's very difficult to go too wide through there, and very easy to knock the back end of the driver around the outside. Easily done as we see another incident here. No, it just goes onto the grass, takes the corner wide, maybe just giving too much respect to the guy on the inside there, and Goddard's, as there's a big moment there. That is Sparrow getting a bit of a...
He comes back on track.
Back on the track. Whew, that's a big moment there. I don't think he had much of a choice there. He lost control of the back end as he was trying to race around the outside. Not sure who he was racing with, but then over the grass. Not much choice there. I don't think that was contact. Maybe that was net code, but once he's on the grass here, he's a passenger, and he gets lucky there, the guy in the barcode library, I want to say. I can't remember who that is. I think maybe...
oh, that's going to be contact hunting on that one as well, too. You could just see, as it looks like Thiago Reiser did sneak on through. Further in the background, you also look at Matthew Jones.
Opened the door now for Matthew Jones as well on Sarah Carr-Desler as they're side by side now into the chicane, and it looks like he's given up there, Sarah Carr-Desler. Wisely so, I would say, because it's very easy to get your nose chopped off in that chicane. But it's starting to get spicy in the middle of the grid as people start to make mistakes on their cold tyres. It looks like more action here between Stewart and that's... Who's that in front? Is that it's a Walt driver? I cannot tell. Number 42. It's Preston. Preston, yeah. So getting past the driver there. So a couple of these guys at the back, newcomers especially, just trying to keep out of people's way, not ruin anybody's races. Just trying to keep things on track at the moment. Zelinskas retains the lead still over Saunders, and there's a little bit of a train there to handwork over Cowlishaw, and then Cowlishaw just dropping out of that train at the moment, and Thomas behind. He needs to try and hold on to the draft from handwork in front in order to prevent Thomas gaining a position on him. We've got Stephen Donnelly off track at the moment. Let's see what happened to him. It looks like a bit of a tap there from the Tiddix Tea-Cake driver, and yeah, maybe that is net code a bit there, because that didn't look like a strong enough tap, or the physics maybe didn't look strong enough to push him in that direction. We've got more side-by-side action here. Preston in the thick of it here as it stands, getting involved in a lot of racing here. There's the number 88 driver, Stewart, looking to get down the inside now. Is this? No, this is handwork down the inside of Zelinskas. Yep. Reese has taken the lead. Zelinskas must have made a mistake somewhere and gone wide. That's opened the door for Saunders to get back in the lead, and handwork has bullied his way through there as well. All to do here. Let's have a look and see what happened. It looks like Saunders going for the move in the chicane. Dangerous place to do it. Puts Zelinskas offline, and that causes him a problem on the exit and opens the door for handwork. Good racing.
Oh, it is fantastic racing, actually. Just a little bit of elbows out through some of those corners, but that's to be expected. So Mark Jardine has gone into pit road. I'm not quite sure why. Remember, there's no damage, so you can continue.
Certainly can, yeah. There will be a pit stop in the second race to come. A 30-minute sprint race with a single pit stop, given we all use fixed setups here in Ferrari, which can also make it a little bit more of a handful at times, but it is generally safer than a lot of the open setups that people will use. But it looks like Saunders already creating a gap here to handwork, and Zelinskas wants this place back, but Cowlishaw is right on his tail as well. He's got to think about behind as well as in front, as these guys are starting to kind of learn each other's driving styles a bit, I feel, and definitely not giving much quarter to each other in the races so far. Doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, but Saunders is in another postcode already.
Yeah, once he's gone, isn't he? And Stevens all by himself here at the moment. Donnelly, and as he hooks onto the grass on the outside there's the rear going around.
Just carried a bit too much speed there and lost it, the rear end. It's seems to be a common theme sometimes with Mr. Donnelly. He's often losing it on his own, trying to push the car too hard at times. Sometimes you've got to kind of take a % or two off the pace that you're driving, especially in race scenarios, in order to make sure that you've got full control over the car, not getting some of those spins. But I'm sure he'll pick up on that himself and look to improve.
So Reese did call it. Here he goes, because Reese did said he'll get him off the grid, and this is the case. Look at that. What a launch. That's from your race car. Absolutely. He's on the grippier side of the track too, you'd imagine that, because that's the racing line, and then perfectly executed straight into the corner. So I think you jinked yourself out there, Reese Saunders, by saying, yeah, my friend, you got to be confident. You got to say, no, I'm going to get him off the line. Anyway, but the thing is,
it's pretty obvious that one of the...
It's not how you start, but how you finish. Currently is a P1.
It is, certainly is, yeah. I think you're looking at that there as well, that start, and there was absolutely zero smoke off the back tyres of Zelinskas, so he's obviously using less throttle on the start to give himself the better launch there, whereas Saunders had a bit of puff of smoke there, so did everybody else as well, so maybe just a bit too heavy with the right foot there at the start. Maybe needs to back off a little bit in order to make sure that you've got the grip before you plant the foot. But we're going to start getting some good racing here. Thomas looking up the inside here. Oh, sorry, this is Matthew Jones on Sarah Carr Desler, I believe. The number 8 driver there in the background, getting overtaken by Matthew Jones. Jones, second in his AM category at the moment. Got some work to do here. Behind the leader, Reusser, though, you'll be looking at him thinking, I just need to beat that man in front of me in order to gain points in the championship. But he's got a couple of pro drivers in between at the moment, one of them being Harper, who's going to be on a charge trying to get recovery done here in this race after an early spin.
Let's check this out at the moment. Running on board with Paul Hollishaw, trying to find a way. Now, the overtaking opportunity you did see earlier, a couple of places on this track if you're bold and brave, trusting in those brake pedals, my friend, to make the car stop. The brake discs, or 4 of them. Look at that right here, don't you? And then hit those plastic cones, as you said, those little things. You see them before on the regular road streets.
You just want to nudge them ever so slightly here in this chicane, but that chicane is very easy, lose a lot of time, and if you aren't fully committed to the corner, it's very difficult to follow through as well, because you just don't know when the guy in front's going to brake, so you've got to use a little bit of a lift. Makes sense, but look at Saunders here, 3 seconds now, the gap. He's managed that in only 3 or 4 laps as well. The man is absolutely flying. We've come to expect this from the man himself. when he's not in the pack and getting involved in incidents, he is absolutely rapid. Fastest man on track so far this season by a long way. But currently 6th in the championship, and got to say, even if he wins this one, it's not going to put him back in lead of the championship, because he's missed a race or two and had a couple of incident-filled races as well that cost him quite a few points. We've got a number of races still to go as well, so he hasn't got the championship sewn up. He's got to be 100% on the ball for the remainder of the season.
Zelinskas has had a moment. Let's have a look. Now this is going to be very unfortunate for the man that was leading lap 1. Now he's currently in P6 and just dropped a couple of places, but so running car off the track a little bit there.
Yeah, he just got the left-hand tyres over that curb and onto the dust, and he lost all grip. He did very, very well to save it, though. They've also got an incident here from Danny Stewart. Let's see what has gone wrong for him. Interestingly, he's not using all of the track there on the left-hand side, and outbraked himself, gone deep, and he managed to save it just about, but that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. Zelinskas now down into P5. He's got some work to do to catch back up. Only 9 minutes remaining in this short sprint race as well. And Saunders passes a back marker, the number 18 driver there. And, he's created such a gap to P2 now, Saunders, that he doesn't really have to look back at this moment in time. He can just ease off a little bit, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, this is his to lose. But he will start P15 the next race if he wins this one. And then he's going to have some work to do there in that one, which I absolutely think is a brilliant idea in terms of keeping the competition tight and successful in the championship, because he's going to have to get a lot of work done in that next race. And we've seen that sometimes in traffic and around other cars, it doesn't go his way, Saunders, so far this season. But Cowler Shaw and Handwork back in another battle. We've got Chris Keenan taking a little gardening trip over the grass there, getting the lawnmower settings or just so.
Well, it costs a lot of time too. Absolutely.
Newcomer Joseph Preston also getting a bit out of shape there as he goes off track, but saves it quite well. He's also in the DeWalt Live livery and looking good there. He hasn't got the chrome bumper, however, unlike Cowley Shaw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big punt. That's Richard Flowey getting told he's going for a formal meeting with Barry R, whether he likes it or not, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be a 2 to 4 second, a 4-point penalty there for the driver who punted him. I'm not sure who it was, but I'm sure there'll be a report coming his way. Cowley Shaw, though, on the back of Handwork, is still looking very racy here as we follow on with Preston and Charles at the moment. Charles in the maroon Alfo car, liveried car 97 there, looking to defend from Preston behind. The newcomer looking good in his first race. I think this is his second race, actually. I'm sure he was here in VIR last week, but he's looking a bit more confident this week and looking to get an overtake done as Cowlishaw is starting to turn the screw here on Handwork. Handwork gets very close to the back of him there as they come round. Believe that was McLean's corner as they come now to a great overtaking spot as they come down the back straight, Starkey straight now into the chicane. If you can get the inside line here for the chicane, it's a very good place to overtake, but defend the inside, it's almost impossible to go around the outside. Cowley Shaw unable to get anything done at the moment, happy to follow as it stands. Handwork has the pace to just drag him along, but Thomas is now in the mix here. These guys fight particularly hard, and Cowley Shaw goes for a move and gets it wrong, then he'll open the door to Thomas, and that's what we love to see here. Tight racing where you've got to really think things through, before you make the move.
Joseph's not having a good time. He's gone off track again, I think, at the moment. There it is. That's a hard impact into the fence on the opposite side. And I'll drop back down to 26. But then again, he's still up 3 positions from his original race start, so...
Yeah, he'll carry on, no damage, so he'll carry on, but that's the second person we've seen after Aramas also got it wrong on the exit of that corner there and ended up in the barrier. Aramas managed to save it, keep it out of the barrier, as Richard Flowey lets 2 drivers pass into the chicane. He's looking to avoid incidents there with that move by the looks of things. Harper struggling at the moment, 16 seconds off Zelinskas as it stands. I believe the timing intervals that we're seeing at the moment is between class, not drivers, so 16-second gap there may not be as big to Krasauskas in front of him, but he's got a number of armed drivers between him and his desired position between the pros. Zelinskas doing well at the moment after his big spin. He needs to try and get past Parkinson and get back into that fight. But 5 minutes remaining of this sprint race. Maybe he's thinking more about the second race than he is at the first, as looks like a bit of a dive there from the green CRN driver behind this battle here, as Cowlishaw is looking still to get past Handwork. Thomas dropped off. He's made a mistake somewhere along the lines, maybe had to check up because of an early braking from Cowlishaw or Handwork. But 6 seconds the gap to Saunders. That man has absolutely run away with this one again. Absolute alien pace from him.
Yeah, there he is up the road. We'll go back to him in a second because there's a little bit of action happening here. As James Botstock Jamesy goes around, he's got tagged there. I think it's come together there with maybe. Let's have a look. So, yeah, who's the machine behind him currently at the moment? I'm not quite sure if that is. No, he's gone around on his own. No, yeah, there is. There's the contact. And...
There it is. Yep.
Oh, such a dangerous place.
May well be a penalty. He gets his nose in the wrong place. James Bostock just not getting the exit he wanted out of that corner. I believe it was Melbourne hairpin, and yeah, just didn't go well from him. But Danny Stewart also making another mistake. That's not like we're going to get that one on the replay.
Yeah, because Danny's unfortunately had a few mistakes and they're currently running in last place at the moment, just in case. Don't just want to capture all the moments that the drivers have the off-track excursions. We want to see this also great battling to going at the moment. Paul is trying his absolute best with 4 minutes to go to steal that P2 position away, because once again, that's Reese's up the road there. Reese's going to be untouchable at this point.
Yeah, at this stage, there's no point trying to work together between these two to try and catch him, because he's gone. It's all about got to try and start turning the screw on Carl here. Paul does, and try and force him offline in order to make him defend a little bit, because at the moment it's too easy for Mr. Handwork as it stands. He's not got anything to think about. He's not looking down the inside, Mr. Cowlishaw, but we've got a big battle here between 3 drivers, between Mitchell, Flouty, and I believe that's Clark in front as well. Flouty in the pro category, down in the dirt with the arm drivers at the moment, struggling in this race, but just going to be. That's very close to the back of him, but yeah, he had to kind of really adjust his braking there mid braking zone. But thankfully, these cars do have ABS, so you can kind of get away with that. You can lean on the ABS a lot in these cars, but it does ruin the tyres. So, but for a 20-minute race, I can't imagine that's too much of a problem. 3 minutes to go here at Donington Park.
You don't need tyres. Paul set the fastest first sectors and stuff like that a little bit, not the fastest lap, but he is quick. Fastest lap has been set by a race leader at 1:27.000 on his dial.
Yeah, that's a long way faster than anybody else on track at the moment by almost 7 tenths, which is a crazy amount of time between drivers here. Honestly, when the Saunders is on a day, got it all clicked together on a day like today, he's unbeatable. But we'll see what happens in the second race. That's why I imagine we've got that second race with the reverse top 15. It's in order to put these quick drivers in the mix, give them something to do, and give the other drivers a chance to battle for something at the front where they normally wouldn't be. But 30 minutes, a longer race for the second one, gives you more time to fight through the order. Incidents notwithstanding, which Reese has been involved in a few as he's tried to fight through the order in the past. Today's going to be no different. It's a tough track, this Donington Park, especially this particular sector here is an absolute nightmare for me through Hollywood, Crater Curves and Old Hairpin, which Handwork's going through just now. Very tough sector of track, that, with the way the camber of the track pulls away from you a little bit. Very difficult to grip, and the speed in the car, it's very easy to run wide. But Cowlishaw has got to start looking down the inside sooner or later and start to try and put some more pressure. 1:30 to go, there's not long left, or maybe he's been waiting and biding his time, thinking that he can't get past and keep him behind. He wants to overtake on the last lap so that Handwork doesn't have any chance to come back at him. But at the moment, he's making it difficult for himself. There's not enough time, maybe, to have this
Tell you what's
lengthy battle.
Unfortunate for Mr. Mark Thomas has just dropped a place here, and that's gone way out. Then that's Not just anything about the damage, of course, you're going to feel the impact, but what, of course, is the biggest impact he's going to feel is a couple of those places that he's going to drop right now. As you can see, those donuts. Good donut, actually, to get yourself back on track. There, at
quite
a
tricky
minimum
to do
amount
in
of
these.
time.
Yeah, quite tricky to do in these GT3 cars. They haven't got quite the 1,000 horsepower that you get in some of the faster cars. Ooh, that's an odd place to try and send it
It's
there
the boss,
from
isn't it?
Bostock. Turned in there, not expecting another driver there. I cannot tell who that was. It maybe have been a back marker there, but
yeah, I think it was because they were approaching somebody really rapidly. Places Hussein here was trying his absolute best to kind of avoid it, and as well as James were up the road.
I think
but
it was Hussein there, yeah.
Here's the man of the hour once again.
This is Rhys Saunders. He'll be crossing the finish line next time for the checkered flag, I believe. And he just hasn't looked back since he took the lead back from Auramas. Auramas unable to defend it. Made a big mistake. Well, it was down into the chicane that he was forced into going wide. And Zelensky then lost out to Handwork as well, and then lost himself.
He can look back right now. Look, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Of
Nobody
emptiness.
inside. 10 seconds almost the gap to the drivers behind. Of course, Handwork has had Cowley Shaw for company, so he's had to think about things behind him rather than in front.
Flag too, my friend.
But here's the checkered flag, and Rhys Saunders wins the race 1 sprint here in Donington Park in Evolution Sim Racing, and it's Handwork's going to hopefully come in P2, but he's still got to worry about the guy behind. But it looks like Cowley Shaw is happy with a podium here and takes that nicely. No battling there in the end. Parkinson does very, very well to win the arm category by quite a distance as well. Zelensky comes home P4, gains good points, but he'll be disappointed that he's lost out a little bit to Saunders. Hopefully still keep the lead, because the difference between points there is only maybe 20 or so, and he's currently got a sizable lead at the top of the championship, and it's Mark Thomas who really was looking at. Who's down in 5th at the moment after a mistake from him cost him a chance at fighting for the podium. But Mukian and Stephen Glass finish on the podium in the AM category as well, with Krasauskas with a great finish in P4, only 8 tenths behind Mukian. Mukian really turning his season around after a rocky start. Is now starting to look good value for money for a podium each race as we head into the second half of this season. Another 30-minute race to go here, as Rhys Saunders is giving us a little smiley face in the chat after dominating this first race. It's going to be trickier for him the second race, starting down in P15, and he's going to have some work to do. And hopefully he can keep it clean. And I'd love to see him actually get one of these charges from P15 to first place done. I'm thinking he's done it already once. I think he might have done it in Spa, but I could be wrong. My memory is not what it once was. 5 minutes warm up then, so we can chat a bit about that race here, Biggles, and how that went. It was not too bad. I have to say, the start incredibly clean.
And you get to go with those results for us as well too.
Yeah, Rhys Saunders wins another race here in Evolution Sim Sport Racing, and Carl Handwerk, another podium for him, followed by Paul Cowlishaw. Starting to see the usual faces drop up at the stop at the top at the of the timing boards here. Stefan Parkinson returns to winning ways after a couple of weeks where he's been in the mud really in terms of results. Aramas Zelensky gets a P5, a P4 in category, P5 on the race itself. And Joe Glass in P6, Mark Thomas in P7, still continuing with his consistent finishes in that top 5 there. So doing well for him. James Mukian, as I say, turning it around, his season around after a rocky start. Modestas Krasauskas gets a good result here as well after a couple of poor finishes in previous races. Raz Harper span early on, never recovered, is in P10. Thiago Reiser managed to gain positions here, but he wants to be higher up the field, but he has got such a lead in the championship at the moment that he can pretty much afford to lose points. Matthew Jones in P12 is just glad that he's still within sight of Thiago, and Wesley Van Rens in P13, followed by Scott Kostrich in P14. Joseph Sparra in P15. Maybe things didn't go his way, but we expect to see him higher up the field after he's kind of burst onto the scene late in the season. James Bostock ends up P16 after getting punted. I imagine there's a penalty coming that way for somebody, but he also sent it on Hussein Sarakar Desla himself into the chicane late on there, who ends up P17. Chris Keenan in P18, followed by Graham Matthew in P19 for Raising Rascals. Gary Mitchell makes up P20 and David Clark in P21. Stephen Donnelly down in P22. Things didn't go his way today. Neither did it for Richard Flouty, who's P23. Joseph Preston finishes his debut race here, I believe, in P24. Rob Coleman is P25. Craig Charles in P26 and Mark Jardine in P27. A lap down, still finishes the race and gains points. We've got any more behind that? I don't know. Think so. No.
No, sir.
So yeah, 2 minutes to go in the warm up for the next one. Not many people out on track using this time. They're probably all having a toilet break, getting a cup of tea, or in some drivers' cases, maybe having a swift shot of vodka to recover from what happened in that first race. Bit of Dutch courage maybe for the next one, as we have got a DeWalt driver out on track at the moment.
Are you encouraging drinking and driving, my friend? Of course, in the virtual world.
In the virtual world, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Nobody dies in the virtual world, let's face it. But yeah, I wouldn't encourage that in real life.
In fact, I'm sure somebody probably has, like expensive rig has accidentally fallen on somebody or something like that in the past. I mean, you never know, but.
Yeah, I'm actually a very zero tolerance kind of guy when it comes to driving intoxicated in the real world. I actually lost an ex-girlfriend because her father, we went to a pub lunch with her father in the Lake District, and he had 2 pints, and I said, if you have 2, I'm not getting in the car with you. And she broke up with me on the way home because she thought that what I did was more dangerous than what he did. And I was thinking, there's not a lot of things that are more dangerous than drink driving, whether it's 2 pints with your dinner. I mean, I can handle one. If somebody has 1 drink with dinner, I can handle that. But I don't personally, if I even have a sip of beer out of a bottle, I would probably not get in the car afterwards. Refuse to. There are certain places in the world, Scotland, for example, you cannot blow anything over 0.00 on the breathalyzer. Otherwise, it's straight to jail you go. But yeah, thankfully, not happened to me. I've never driven impaired, and I have 0 points on my license. Never been caught speeding, which is the most surprising thing, considering the way I drive sometimes on the roads.
Well, yeah, speeding as well too, but that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? That's where they actually make a lot of revenue in Australia. And I've always gone into this subject as well. We're just counting down 30-something seconds, but real quick on that one is like, you got the technology now to implement in all new modern cars so that they can restrict the speed of the car. So if you're going through a school zone, it's 40 kilometers an hour. 60 kilometers an hour through, general residential streets, so that your computer will be detecting the speed limit. The speed limit will limit the car, so you cannot go over the speed.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be that long before we are...
They have that technology already, it's just that they don't want to implement it because they're also going to lose a ton of extra fines and fees and stuff like that. They'll do it with cameras now anyway in Australia, my friend, so you don't even see
I don't think it's going to be too long, I think, for it's going to be a case of, if you want to drive the car yourself, your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
That's true.
Because the insurance companies will prefer a robot driving your car, with the self-driving cars making great headway at the moment. Although one did kill somebody in America. I think it was in California. A self-driving car killed somebody in a traffic accident. And the problem then is, who's at fault? But moving on, we shall look at the grid. We've got Joseph Sparrow starting on the front row in pole position. We're looking to see how he can take advantage of that, as Kos Kotrich starts on the front row alongside him, with Wesley Van Rens behind the P1 driver, Matthew Jones behind the P2. Thiago Reisa starting in P5. It would be interesting to see if he can make headway here. He's always been rapid in the races themselves. Raz Harper in P6, followed by Modestas in P7 and James Mukian in P8. Mark Thomas in P9 and Joe Glass in P10, rounding out the top 10. Aromas Zelinska starts P11, and we'll be glad of the fact that he's starting ahead of his main rival, Rhys Saunders. He's the main man he's battling with. Stefan Parkinson starts P12 as we move down the order. We've got Paul Cowlishaw in P13 and Carl Hanwork in 14th, and Rhys Saunders in P15 after winning the first round. James Bostock starts at P16 with Hussain behind him and Chris Keenan directly behind him on track, followed by Matthew and Mitchell. And away we go for the start of the second one. I'll never get the time to finish that, but it looks like a good start there. Again from P2, gets the jump over P1 and gets the lead going into turn 1, and gets the better line and opening there, as we see everybody 3 wide, 4 wide almost there into turn 1, but clean as you like, as everybody gets through unscathed almost, and that is turn 1 negotiated without incident. That's great to see, as we got more overtakes left, right and centre. Too much to keep up with at the moment, but Kostrich, great start from him, as we're going to have a battle here between now. It looks like Thomas is going to go up the inside. Sorry, it's Van Rens and Reisa battling with each other. Van Rens gets past Brycer gets past Van Rens and takes P2 in his Class P4 on track at the moment. It's jostling for position left and right is everybody at the moment, as we're seeing some great clean racing in the opening exchanges here in the second race. Half an hour to go and a long time still to go. So far, so good. Matthew has dropped 4 positions so far. Not gone right for him. But Stewart there gaining 5 positions at the start. 6 now after another crash and Chris Keenan there trying to rejoin. Big off track there and maybe a bad rejoin, but he gets back on track cleanly. That's Harper again in the wars here in lap 1 and looks like almost the same place. This is going to be a 3 wide in the hairpin and yeah, rightly so. It looks like Mookie in there going very right to avoid any kind of incident there, and they all navigating nice and cleanly. We're seeing a lot more respect here at Donington Park from drivers. I wonder if it's the nature of the track that allows overtaking and or whether it's just drivers are starting to learn a little bit about lap 1 etiquette. I'm not sure.
Don't you speak too soon. Don't you speak too soon. You know what's going to happen, don't you?
Oh,
all
yes,
of a sudden
absolute
you're going to
chaos.
see a massive pile up once you just mentioned that. Of course, hopefully not. We don't get that. We won't want that. But, you know, they're getting as the first lap jitters, and that's very good, as you saw. Everybody getting through quite cleanly. That was in the race control messages from the league saying, you know, in the notes, okay, guys, just take it a little bit more easier on your first laps. And they have done it in the first heat. They have done it in its full race heat now. Because now that they've done that, they will then get a little bit more greedy with the car and seize a little bit more opportunities to see cars off as well.
That was Wesley Van Rens off track there. He's dropping the order rapidly as well. Not what he wants, but he's got plenty of time in this 30-minute race to make a comeback. Krasauskas actually, rapid start from him, gains 3 positions from the start, takes the lead of the AM category, but he's got the leader of the championship right behind him at the moment. And Brycer doesn't look twice when he's looking to make a move. He's generally quite deterministic about his overtakes, and we'll be looking to get this one done sooner rather than later on Krasauskas, I believe. But Spara at the moment looking very racy, trying to get Kostrich back after Kostrich got the start to dream for taking a leaf out of Auramas's book as well. Just getting a perfect launch there, but it looks like Spara maybe lining him up for turn 1. It's going to be difficult to get the inside line there for that. You've got to get a great exit out of the final corner. And we've got some contact there, and that is between Jardine and Flouty there. Getting pushed wide a little bit there in the final hairpin, and into the pits he goes. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm wondering how many people as well, I said this last week, how many people might just think about this week starting with very little fuel in the car, pitting early, getting out of the traffic, and then running their own race, doing it backwards compared to everybody else who usually run long and then do the splash and dash at the end. I'm wondering if that's what Jardine's strategy here is today. Side by side here, Mukian goes up the inside in the S's there to take Charles in an unusual spot, but the crater curves there in the all-way pin. Definitely a place you can overtake if you get a good run out of the first corner. Lots of places, unexpected places you can actually make an overtake here. Zelinskas all over the back of Thomas at the moment. The man in the green 150 car ahead. At the moment, Zelinskas looking to try and make sure that he stays ahead of Saunders. That's all he needs to do in this race here. He needs to beat Saunders, and the more he can beat him by, the better it's going to be. And Saunders with Harper, Hardwick and Cowlishaw in front, or in between him and his main rival Zelinskas, that's great news for Zelinskas. He knows that these guys don't give up positions easily, and Saunders is going to have a tricky time getting through that group.
Let's go back at the start, and this is where you see Scotty getting the overtake done. And that's the same thing, isn't it? This is not a carbon copy, essentially, of Heat 1. Just that outside lane there, it must have just much more grip, isn't it? You'd have to say, it looks like everybody that's just on that. Let's have a look at the cars behind. Just want to go back and have a look. I'm trying to see who's the car behind, or any of the cars on the left-hand side. No, there was a little bit of a bog down.
Look at that start from Modestas, I think that is, who gets up into P3 from P6. What a start he gets going around the outside, and then gets the inside of the corner as well. A little bit of door back in between the teammates. They go around our teammates there, but they get through it nice and easy. But Krasauskas, what a start from him. He'll be very satisfied with that, but he's got work to do. Brycer looking very racy at the moment, only 0.6 behind, and Kostrich creating a gap now to Spara, and Sparrow needs to try and stay in that tow. He gets back within the 1 second window for a little bit, but tow in these cars is probably, it's very weak, but it starts at about 1.2 to 1.3 seconds or something like that. But it's very, very weak at that stage. You need to be under the 1 second mark to really make a noticeable difference. An overtake there on the inside from Krasauskas on Sparrow. Sparrow losing out to the arm driver there. Great move from Modestas there, getting his race on this evening and enjoying himself here in Donington Park.
Let's have a little replay of that one. That's about a P2 currently at the moment, and that's going to be called textbook overtake, as long as you can make it stick.
It looks like, yeah, Sparrow was trying to go for the switchback, but I think he was maybe worried too much about the car behind at the same time. Tries to look down the inside of the next hairpin Goddard's as well, but nothing doing. And yeah, just prefer to keep it clean. Here we have Auramas and Thomas going side by side through the S's and now into old hairpin, and he gets the move done on the inside and the old hairpin. A great overtake from Auramas, but it looks like Thomas isn't giving up easy and is looking for the inside again, but gets his nose cut off and has to jump behind. And there's contact for Cowlishaw, and handwork punts Cowlishaw off. Need to see that one again with a replay to really judge that one, but that's not gone well for Cowlishaw at all. He's been pushed off track and goes wide, and it looks like, yeah, that's the vortex of danger. You've got to say that's on Mr. Handwork again, and maybe going to get a couple of penalty points. He's got no opportunity to give the position back, which is unfortunate for him, but he's going to lose a position out to Harper by the looks of things, who's looking racy behind him, but Harper thinks better of it. Maybe going to be caught by Saunders. Yeah, he's going to be overtaken by his teammate. No team orders between these two, we were told in Spa. In the overnight race as well, so Saunders has to slot back in behind and wait for a better opportunity, but Raz, I think, knows fine well that Saunders is rapid, and fighting him too hard for too long is going to cost them both, and they are teammates. They are both year one drivers, so they'll be looking to not hold each other up too much. Maybe there will be a little bit of team orders if Reese can get in his ear and berate him into moving aside. Thomas on the back of Zelinskas still trying to fight this back. Handwork well behind now after that little incident there with Cowlishaw. Not the first time those two have come together. I feel a rivalry brewing. And there's another move there. Bostock managed to get past Jones after he goes wide in turn one. And it's starting to heat up a little bit here at Donington Park. Lots of overtakes happening.
The heat is on. It's on the road. As you can see between those teammates as well too. So there it is. Let's see whether or not no team orders. Harper did not have to get out of the way. As you said, he just got the job done and retook his teammate. Further up there, Scotty still leading there at the moment in the Racing Rascals car. But now you'd have to say there's the blinking light of the 33 machine, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been a bit there, but Modestas is absolutely on a charge today. He's going for another overtake into the hairpin. Down the inside he goes, not defending it. Is Kostrich there, trying to hold it around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next hairpin, however, into Goddard. Is Krasauskas going to look to dive there? No, thinks better of it. Just a bit too far back at the moment, and they're fighting so hard now that Sparrow's coming back into play. But he's got Reiser in close contact behind him. These two arm drivers, Krasauskas and Reiser, really battling it out with the pros well here in this second race, proving that they've got what it takes to mess with the big boys as we come around for another lap. This is turn one done and into Hollywood, and the Craner curves is Krasauskas. He doesn't look like he's wanting to sit behind Kostrich at all. He wants this position. He wants this win.
Well, one person at the moment will want to retake this look.
Oh, that is unfortunate. That's Sparrow and Reiser. That's Reiser hitting the back of Sparrow there. That's going to be a penalty for him. He's giving the position back here, or at least letting him get back on track in front without overtaking him. No, he doesn't. He goes back on track, and he blocked the guy coming up behind as well. That's going to be 4 penalty points docked, or 2 positions docked for a bad rejoin. He's already got 1 warning from last week, and he's off the track again there as Mitchell goes through, as so does Cowlishaw down the inside. Reiser, it's all gone to pot for him. He needs to regather himself, get back into a rhythm, and try and recover as best he can. But at the moment, it's going backwards for Reiser at the moment, and that is great for his rivals in AM Parkinson right behind him at the moment. And yeah, he needs to drop quite a few points before he starts dropping off the top of the championship leaderboard. Does Reiser, 77-point lead, as we mentioned at the beginning of the stream. But look at this battle we've got here brewing between P3, 4, 5 and 6 in the pro category. Oh, something's happened to Kostrich. He's gone into the pits.
Yep.
And that's early pit stop for him. That gives Krasauskas the lead. And Zelinskas and Thomas, Hanwick, Harbour, Sonas all within 1 second of each other. And it's starting to get spicy between these again. We've got Hanwick in the mix of all of this as well. And it's proven to be a pointy elbow driver in the past, making mistakes here and there. He's only human after all. We can't hold it against him too much. But I get the feeling we're going to see some drama before this race is out.
I got a feeling we're definitely going to see some drama. It's definitely getting spicy. So a little bit elbows out, of course, a little bit of nudging, a couple of drivers making mistakes too, going off into that grass. With under 18 to go, 11 minutes or so down, and yeah, some of those drivers electing to go out the pit stop. So you can see the track map as well too, my friends. So just finding a little bit of gap would just be hard in itself. Now the gap's just there, as you can see. So about one sector, literally, of this track is available for free clean air. The rest of it's all going to jam pack up.
Certainly is. Getting that is very important. Making sure you get the pit stop into clean air. Oh, there was a slow car on track there. That's Scott Kostrich, who I'm not sure what's gone wrong.
I think. No, he's gone off track.
He's well along the track. I think he's gone off track somewhere, made a mistake at some point. That means he's going to be out of the running for the race win. Oh, it's a bad rejoin. That is a bad rejoin. Who was that? It's a year 1 driver. It's going to be possibility Spara Donnelly or
Donnelly, yeah.
Stephen Donnelly, yeah. So he's had contact.
Yeah. And that's so,
he's out of control as well, isn't he? He's trying to stop the car.
Oh, how disappointing.
Impossible to do on the grass. You've got absolutely no grip on the grass, and I can't remember who. That looked like maybe it was with Reiser. No, it was not. It looked like possibility. Who was his teammate again? I cannot remember. But a Guarana driver. Anywhere, maybe Van Ren's possibility. But it's all gone wrong there. We mentioned there was going to be more drama. There is your drama. There's going to be a bit more to come, I believe, as well. Cowlishaw behind Mitchell at the moment, trying to get an overtake done there on track, looking very close and racy as it stands. But little pack here racing for top points in the pro category is going to get spicy before it gets before we get to the end of this. Modestas will want these guys to fight hard. He needs them to fight hard so he can run away with this. So there is Zelinskas, the 181 driver in front, looking to try and get Krasauskas and take charge, take the lead of this race again after starting quite far back here in this second heat. Here we have the Tudyk's Tea Cake driver defending the inside against Cowlishaw, and that's how you defend the inside into the hairpin there. Nothing doing for Cowlishaw, cannot make it around the outside. He's going to defend the inside into Goddard as well. This is how you make the driver behind you make decisions, make hard decisions, make it as difficult for them to overtake as possible. But I don't think it's going to matter too much. It's only a matter of time. Harbour comes into the pits, as does Spara as well. We're starting to see different strategies come into play as we get into the middle mix of the season here. People are no longer afraid to pit early instead of doing a splash and dash. Ooh, bit of a swapper there from Cowlishaw as he gets the rear wheel on the dirt. Well caught by that man there.
You gotta love those strategies, I'd say.
Certainly do. Yeah, no problem. Certainly, I've got to love the strategy. It's nice to see people trying different things for a change, and it'd be interesting to know if any of these drivers drive with a real-life crew chief, somebody in their ear telling them, you know, where everybody is, where the gap is, where they're likely to come out. And if you get into the pits and out into clean traffic, and then get through that traffic nice and cleanly and swiftly, it could mean big gains for the end of the race. 15 minutes to go. We're just about the halfway point as Handwerk, Thomas and Zelinskas are now the group of 3 battling it out there at the front. Krasauskas at the front there at the moment, hanging on for dear life as it stands to that P1, which is a little train of 4 cars. He's going to have a back marker in Van Ren's coming up soon. And the moment Craig Charles in the pits, 2 laps down. He looks to have given up on this race and seems to be out. There's no reason why we'd be in the pits for 3 or 4 laps. No damage in this series. So it'd be interesting to find out what's happened with him. I wonder if he's had some kind of technical issue with his wheel or so. Cowlishaw still struggling behind Mitchell at the moment. As what have we got here? We've got Joseph Preston and Scott Kostrich struggling at the moment. Ooh, bit of a swap there from Preston, and that may open the door again for Kostrich, and it does, and he goes back up the inside. Hanging it around the outside here, though, is Preston, looking to try and get it there, and gets a bit of a swap. Runs out of room and spears across the track, and that's that done. Just a bit of a mistake there, trying too hard to get on the loud pedal there. Flashy lights from behind to say that I'm going to dive you from Sparrow there, and he still tries to hold it on the outside, which is right, but yeah, let's have a look here at Sparrow, what he does here into the hairpin. There's going to be a dive down the inside, doesn't defend it, leaves the door open, and Sparrow gets the car stopped, but only just. There's a switchback. He outbraked himself a little bit, and nothing doing. So it tells you all you need to know about how right you've got to get into that last hairpin, the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, he's just not having a fantastic race after that incident before, isn't it? Rez is probably.
I think
not
I've
having a good
cursed the
time.
man. You know, I've been saying that. Yeah, there's Harper around again. It's one to forget for him. He can't even get back on track. If I were you there, I would turn left and spin back around off track so you can get there. That's the same place Auramas lost it. The same place Donnelly lost it. It's proving difficult one to deal with there. I say I would turn left there.
Get your fold out chair and sit right there if you want to enjoy this racetrack side. That's the place to be.
Got an image of Alonso in my head on a deck chair around, I think it was in Lagos, was it? Where he was giving that sly little grin over the shoulder. Ooh, what we got here? Around the outside, Preston's trying to go on James Bostock into Melbourne hairpin. And he's very, very tight to the back of the 66 driver here. He's defending the inside though, but he hasn't defended it hard enough. Maybe going for the dive? No, he's not. He's looking to try and maybe get him to turn one. But looking racy here is Joseph Preston, looking to found his confidence a little bit and get involved in some wheel-to-wheel action, but nothing doing as it stands at the moment. And it looks like so we've had a pit at the front. Thomas has come into the pits and is now out of that fight. Saunders is overtaking him on track now, but Saunders behind Flouty. Not sure what's going on there, whether he's pitted early or not, but looks like these front three drivers still in a little train, unable to get past Krasauskas. Krasauskas, honestly, I've got to say, he's done an absolutely fantastic job so far this race. If he can hang on to this win, I'll be very, very impressed by his race here. I do not want to curse the man, so I'm touching wood and my head and everything else. Fingers, toes crossed, and hopefully that's not one of those infamous commentators' curse. We're good at those, probably not.
I also was good at picking up the boss that gets tagged from behind. And another one into that famous corner that we said. In this case, it wasn't his fault. He got a little bit of contact there, but yep, that's where you get your fold-up chair, and you'd probably want to be ready to jump back out. This is pit lanes, pit stops, sorry, as we're reporting. Carl's gone in. And also Richard.
James.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
James Bostock been a bit of a punching bag today for some of the other drivers, has he not? He's been in the wars, and not a lot of it seems to have been his fault. Spun around twice now by other people. Oh, there was that one in the first race where he sent it on Hussein up the inside, got a tag there, but I can't imagine that's not going to go without a penalty for him. But, not his race so far, but as long as he gets decent points here in the race, he'll be happy with that. Consistent finishes is what it's all about. Here we have a move here into Goddard's.
Yeah,
I'm
saying
yes, it is.
If a lift off or a fight, that was good there. Oh, that's because he's got into the pits anyway with the driver behind, so that's exactly which way. I think it was Joseph Preston that says, all right, mate, I'm not going to be covering you on the inside, and that's what was also debated about. Okay, where you're going to take your pit stops and stuff like that. For your racing line, look at this. A little bit of battle action, of course, pouring up for each one of these drivers have made their pit stops. Mark Jardine has made
Saunders up at the P4, interestingly. He's pitted, and Handwork has pitted, and Thomas has pitted as well. As well as Kotrich, who pitted very early, but Saunders pit earlier than everybody else ahead, and manages to gain a couple of positions through that as well. He got the clean air on track, overtook Handwork, who was fighting in the front three. I don't know if he had any off tracks or issues or anything like that, but it looks like maybe it was just the pit stop. Glass comes into the pits next. That's his first pit stop, and Roycer, Mitchell, Kaulashaw, Zelinskas and Krasauskas still yet to stop. Matthew in the background as well in P5 at the moment, still yet to stop, as well as Clark also. But we're starting to see some of these people who have done early pit stops Saunders in particular have managed to gain quite a lot out of that as well. Is Saunders going to use the 200 IQ pit stop strategy to manage to get himself back into the fight at the top and win this race? 10 minutes to go. He's got everybody in front of him still to pit, but
Maybe in the net lead, we've done this. We've debated about all this sort of stuff before, haven't we? Depending about those pit stops and how these laps at the moment he can put in. So you can see those top 4 at the moment, top 5. My apologies. Are still yet to box. Top 4 it is. Jeez, I'm walking all over the place. Now it's top 4.
Saunders gets a nice clean move there on Riser there as well, showing the difference in categories between the top. Oh, Gary Mitchell just stops on track and disappears.
Pulled off. And
I think maybe he's got something going on, his kids, or it just threw up on his lap or something like that kind of thing, or somebody burgled his house. I don't know, who knows, but that looks like there's something going on in real life. He's had to stop and give up, and it's dangerous to do it on the track, but I imagine he checked his rear view mirror.
The wife's like waiting at the door, tapping her feet, all dressed up, going, it's our anniversary night.
Imagine racing on your anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
I would never do such a thing. I was commentating on my girlfriend's birthday this year for James Parfit Broadcasting.
Oh, no.
I did definitely check beforehand with her that it was definitely okay, and it was not a trap. She definitely was okay with it.
You just swap the day. I always say, just swap the day around and say, look, we got, I know your birthday's today, but let's do something special tomorrow or something. Just treat it like it's your birthday. Again, you get 2 birthdays essentially, something like that.
Too old for kind of pushing it to be on the birthday itself, but Parkinson with the fastest lap of the race in P4 at the moment in the ARM category, doing rather well. I've got to say Riser has done rather well to get himself up where he is, but he hasn't stopped yet, so he's almost certainly going to lose at least 2 positions to Glass and Parkinson, maybe a third to Matthew as well. But the moment, the real story of the race is the Disney fairy tale, if you will, is Krasauskas. Still in a position to win this one.
Yeah, we'd love that. Safety, what is it? Safety dating? Here he comes in now.
Comes into the pit. It's important that he gets a rapid entry and exit in order to keep a hold of the lead over Zilinskas, who may well just be released now and be able to put in faster laps. We'll see what kind of lap time he can put in for this one, but it's a possibility that he'll have to come in at the end of this lap as well.
Here comes
Zilinskas doing rather well. Saunders now in P2 after handwork Cowlishaw and Krasauskas pit. It's gifted him a great option here, but 19 seconds behind Zilinskas. Is that enough to take charge of the race? I don't know how long the pit entry here is. It looks as though Krasauskas hasn't lost that much time. I think it might be less than 16 seconds. It's quite a short pit lane here in Donington, and you enter it already as you're going slow out of a hairpin, so you don't lose too much time on the entry. Ooh, this is a dangerous place to stick your nose in here, Mr. Parkinson. You don't want to be entering the vortex of danger in that corner. He thinks better of it and gets very wide there on the dirt. That could be dangerous, that dirt as well. Can spear you. But look at that slow exit there from Glass, and around the outside the Sky driver goes and takes P2 in class. Great move from Parkinson.
Good job. Absolutely great racing further up the field there. This is something at the moment that Paul Collishaw would like also to do, to mimic, to try to copy. He would have seen it in his mirrors behind him. Hopefully not really looking too much in his mirrors. He's not going to be looking forward at the moment to see whether they could take it to Thomas. That's it for the pit stops, apart from Zelinkas, you said, in P1, which will drop that place, no doubt. We're going to see whether he's going to sneak back out. Probably maybe around where these drivers are. Who knows?
Rhys Saunders currently with the fastest lap of the race with a 27.3, 3/10 faster than Aramas's best at the moment, and he's on a charge as it stands, trying to reduce that 19-second gap. He's already managed to cut a second into it as it stands, so Zilinskas could be in trouble on pit exit here if he pits now. It looks like he's going to carry on though and go another lap as Cowlishaw gets past Thomas, gets the inside line into turn 1 and makes that move look easy as you like. And, trying to hold it around the outside, but nothing doing. Inside line so strong in turn 1. Can't be helped, can't defend that one. Let's have a replay here of David Clark, see what's gone wrong for him.
It's gone very slow through here. I'm wondering, he's going to get tagged from behind. Because, I mean, it's just the judge at the pace, isn't it? And look at that. It looks like that's sportsmanship. Look at that. The driver's slowing down to say, my bad to let him through.
great to see.
Yeah.
And that will mean that he still gets penalty points, but half the amount. Ordinarily, it would be 4 penalty or 4 points docked from his Drivers' Constructors Championship. But that will hopefully be reduced to 2 for him.
I'm curious about that one because
back.
I wouldn't say that's a difficult one because that driver, and there's Zelinkas going into the pit. But I mean, that driver was very cautious going through that corner. I mean, you have to be really on the brake. Well, really losing a lot of time. And there's obviously a certain amount of speed you have to be doing on the track as well. So you can't be driving around 50 kilometers an hour and not expect to get people hitting you left, right, and center.
I mean, that would cause a yellow flag if you were going slowly, which means that you've got to overtake and do it cautiously. But it's definitely on the driver behind 100% when you tag somebody up the bump. It's almost certainly whether they're going slowly or not, because anything could have happened to the guy in front. You don't know what's happened, whether they've just pushed or they've had a spin or anything like that kind of thing. It's up to you to do that safely. But Zelinkas does lose out to Saunders, who's managed to get that 200 IQ strategy to work perfectly for him, and he's already 4 seconds in the lead, and only 3.5 minutes to go. It's worked out perfectly for him. He's going to win both races here by the looks of things. 4 seconds the gap now, and the pace he's got around this track, you can't see him look back at any stage. Handwork even managed to jump Zelinkas the undercut here at Donington Park, proving very powerful.
Yeah, you called it perfectly on that one, and go back to that as well too. If you get in an accident with a motor vehicle and you run at the rear of somebody's car, 99% of the time you're going to be at fault. But back to motor racing, this is exactly what you called at the start of the race. By boxing early, switching up that strategy.
That could be a big rejoin there. I'm not sure what happened there. Almost flew into the air with a bump there. That is Mark Jardine. Does well to keep control of the car on the grass and not spear back onto the track and have an unsafe rejoin. But going back to what you're saying, in real life, obviously in racing, you can't do this, but in real life, if you brake check somebody and they run into the back of you, that's still your fault. Yeah. Believe it or not. Because you could be braking for
you could have jumped over the wall. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying in real life, if you brake check somebody and they run into the back of you, it's still your fault as far as the insurance will be concerned, because you could be braking for any reason. A rabbit or a dog ran at the road, a rabbit you've got to run over, but if a person ran at the road, you could be braking for them, or you could be braking for any kind of perceived hazard on front of you, and if the guy behind it doesn't have enough space to stop, that's their fault.
That's why brake checking actually causes a lot of road rage when drivers do that deliberately, because they get some road rage and they brake check people, and there's a lot of anger.
Too close. If you hit them, you were too close to them. That's basically the point of that. And obviously, if somebody's driving that aggressively, I recommend you just stop or let them go. But
get out of there.
I've seen
they're people you don't want to be dealing with. There's a good close battle happening at the moment here for these two drivers, Diego Ariza and Mr. Jones, Murphy Jones at the moment, fourth in their class, battle for the fourth place in the AM class.
Wondering whether Zelinkas is going to be able to get close enough to Handwork as well, but he's dropped out of the 1 second gap at the moment. This is the closest fight on track at the moment. Reiser currently trying to recover some points essentially for his championship, but Jones, this man in front, is his main championship rival. He's in P2 in the championship, and he wants to finish ahead of him so that he's gaining points in the championship rather than losing points. It's only 5-point difference between his position, I believe, in this second race, and but that's 5 points going towards his main rival Jones at this stage. So it'll reduce the gap from 77 points to 72, given all things equal on the points there. So he wants this position. Only a minute to go. I imagine we're going to see a nice leisurely finish here in Evolution Sim Racing, as everybody is thinking at the moment, I don't want to do anything that's going to be untoward towards my race at this moment. I don't want to risk my podium here, but Saunders 7 positions gained overall, which I think is obviously only in the pro category, because he's gained 14 overall, starting P15 on this grid. That is only positions gained in his category, but that is a fantastic race from him. Hopefully we'll get to interview the man. Let's have a look at this replay here.
Let's see how he did his race start. He's on the other side of the track again. But this time around, even with that, he gets a good launch, a better launch. He gets blocked there.
One position, that's 2 positions. And it's contact there, he gets away with it. And he's in the wrong place here. Loses a position up the inside there. Gets up in the middle. And he does very well to survive that. And loses the position. I think that's Carl Handwork there on his inside, who we know to be an aggressive style driver. He sees gap, puts car in gap, that's his motto. And but yeah, clean start here from Reese Saunders as well. But the real gains he made, I believe, with hitting early, getting the clean air, and overtaking people with the pit stop strategy, which is unusual so far in this series. But we have got 0-0 to go, and Saunders is going to be coming around the final corner as we speak. And this will be for the checkered flag, I believe, or has he already passed? Yeah, he's already passed it. So it's a white flag situation at the moment, and that's Saunders there as the black little box under your on your top right hand of your screen, coming through the other side of the track now and round McLean. Not long to go before he wins a double here in Donington Park, and that will be great news for him. He'll gain a lot in his championship charge to get back to the top of the leaderboard. But Zelinskas with a podium might just hang on to his lead at the top of the stage. At the moment, Spara's gone in very, very late. That's unusual. Wonder what's gone on there. Maybe a penalty. I wonder if he's got a drive through or a stop and go for something. Or it looks, maybe, look, his car is bouncing. He's run out of fuel. Maybe run out of fuel. That's a possibility as well. If he didn't put enough fuel in the car, he pitted very early. He's got to do a splash and dash. He's straight out again. But that's not gone well for him at all. Harper as well, out of the race entirely at the very back. Gave up. Clark and Charles also out of the race. Saunders, though, crosses the finish line to win Donington Park in style. And Handwerk comes home P2 with Zelinskas P3. Not far behind. That was a couple of back markers you saw just going over the finish line there. Preston, that is your podium. Handwerk and Zelinskas coming home. And Krasauskas wins the AM category for the first time, I believe, this season. Parkinson gets his show back on the road after a couple of tricky races for him the last couple of weeks. Gets P2, and Stephen Glass, Joe Glass it is, apologies, the P3 in the AM category. Cowlishaw manages to come home P4 in the end. He'll be disappointed with that, though, because he did get punted off by Handwerk, who's going to probably get a penalty for that one from the stewards. But there we have Roycer in P5, a good recovery drive from him, but that's the first time he hasn't won in several races, I believe, so he'll be a little bit disappointed that he's not there at the top end. But it doesn't look like Donington Park is a track for him. Maybe he hasn't had time to practice because he started quite low down the grid. But Sarakar Desla with P7 in category, and Mukian in P6 as well, having great races. Bostock manages to recover to P8 after all of the untoward incidents that he was involved in today. Still manages to get a top 10 finish in category as well. We'll go through the full results in a moment. But fastest lap of the race goes to none other than Rhys Saunders with a 1:27.193. Absolutely rapid on track the entire time today. And looking forward to interviewing the man if he's got time to join us. But Matthew, the last person to finish across the line. Keenan, apologies, and Matthew, last two people to finish the line, cross the line there. And there we have it. Donington Park done and dusted. Have to say, it was a lot cleaner at the race start, but we still had plenty of action and incidents on track as people found it a struggle, particularly in the S's there, getting wide. And I believe it was Old Hairpin and McLean's as well. People struggling with the track limits a little bit. Once you get one wheel on the little bit of grass, that's good night in certain areas. But here we have your results then. We'll go through these in order. Rhys Saunders wins another race here for the 191 driver and Team Year 1 driver, collecting a lot of points for the championship here. But his teammate Raz Harper, not even on the screen in the first row as he's out of this race. Carl Handwerk gets a P2. Great result for him in the end, but a penalty coming his way for a punt on Cowlishaw in the middle of that race. Auramas Zelinskas manages to get a nice podium there. Maybe that's going to mean that he keeps a hold of the race championship lead. Modestas Krasauskas in P4, followed by Paul Cowlishaw in P5. Again, disappointed with another incident between him and Carl Handwerk. There's a real rivalry brewing between those two. Seem to always find each other on track, so it must be similar on pace. Stefan Parkinson in P6 and Mark Thomas in P7. Another consistent finish for Mark Thomas means that he's still going to be in the shout come the end of the season for the championship. Joe Glass in P8, followed by Scott Kostrich. It all went to pot for him in P9. He led the race for so long, and it went wrong for him after his pit stop. Matthew Jones in P10, followed by Tiago Roycer in P11. James Mukian in P12. And Joseph Spara in P13. Had to pit at the death to get fuel by the looks of things. Hussein Sarakar Desla ends up P14, followed by James Bostock in P15 and Stephen Donnelly in P16, with Mark Jardine making up the top 17 as we move further down the grid order. to round out the rest of the grid.
Trying.
Oh, we're trying.
Oh,
We'll
no,
see
I know what
if the
I've done
computer.
Yeah.
There we go. So Gary Mitchell in P18, followed by Chris Keenan in P19 and Graham Matthew in P20. Joseph Preston in P21 and Wesley Van Rens in P22. He had a couple of off tracks and has ended up a lap down in the end. Richard Flouty also a lap down as David Clark 3 laps down and Raz Harper 5 laps down. Well, I don't believe that's enough to get credit for his points if he was going to get any points in P25. I think that's not 75% of the race. Craig Charles didn't really get going at any stage, and Rob Coleman, 18 laps down, probably never started the race altogether. We shall move on now then to interviews. If we've got any drivers getting ready for interviews, we've got nobody in the interview channel, and I don't drag anybody in from any other channel. So if nobody's there by the time we've wrapped this up, I guess we're just going to have no interviews and move on with our lives, I guess. But yeah, what do you think of that? It was a good race, that I have to say. Lots of action there, and cleaner in previous races so far in this, particularly the lap 1 incident. So it looks as though the stewards and driver briefings are gaining a little bit of traction, giving people the opportunities to race hard in the first laps, but not unfairly.
It was good.
What do you
No, I enjoyed it. Oh, by the way, there's that telephone number to call for your stealth scaffolding. I think you can see it there.
I was
wondering if
saying
that's-
before we started this broadcast that I might give that number a ring just to see what happens, because I imagine it's a UK number. I imagine it.
It's got a
if
website
anybody
address
answers
on there
it
as well. I wonder if they paid
I know.
anything for it.
Possibility, yeah. We must have to pay for advertising. It says free in the top right corner, though. So, stealth scaffolding. I mean, that's not the greatest name. We've got Rhys Saunders, who's popped into the interview channel, though. So we'll drag him in and get an interview underway. Rhys Saunders, you've got to be absolutely over the moon with the results here today. A win in both races. You weren't here last week, and that's dropped you down the championship order a little way. But 2 wins in a row here, that could put you back on the top spot.
Yeah, super chuffed with that, Stephen. Perfect night, to be fair. I got mugged off the line by RMS as I thought I would in race 1. But, you know, I had a bit more pace than him, so I managed to get by him pretty early on and then just saunter off into the distance. And then race 2, well, you know, starting P15 is so difficult. Yeah, it's just carnage in the opening few laps. I had a mega start, actually, and then got dive bombed by Carl Handwerk into T1 and pretty much lost all the places I'd gained. And then, yeah, from there, it was just picking people off one by one. I pitted pretty early and actually put a little bit too much fuel in. But I put myself in some clean air, used that extra pace that I'd got. And yeah, once the pit stops had worked their way through, yeah, I was ahead of everyone. So yeah, mega chuffed with it. A perfect night, and yeah, hopefully brings me back into contention.
Yeah, a couple of fastest laps in both races as well, I believe. You seem to be the fastest man on track by a long way when we look at the season overall, especially. But it hasn't always gone your own way. But today, when you started P15, we looked at that in a replay on the after the race had finished as well, and you managed to keep yourself and your nose clean, even being in the middle of a 3 wide into turn 1. Is that big part of your thinking there when you were going into this one, knowing that you're going to start P15, just survive and get through it, give up positions if you need to? You know, you had the pace to challenge later on in the race. Was that your thinking?
Yeah, it's just about staying calm, keeping a cool head, and not ending up in the steward's office, which, you know, thankfully I think I can say I don't think they've got any cause for concern from me this week, which is a nice, pleasant change. Yeah, it's not gone perfectly to plan in previous races in that race too. So, yeah, finally this week it all came together, no car contacts, and yeah, it comes through the result.
Yeah, you've done exactly what you needed to do this week after missing a week. Are you still thinking basically about that championship charge? Are you still thinking that your name is already written on that trophy? It's just yours to lose? Or what are you thinking between now and the rest of the season? Has you got to carry on doing what you've done today?
Competition's so fierce. RMS is just as quick as I am. There's only a 10th or 2 in it, if that. And it really is. He's got like a 100-point advantage going into today's race. Which, yeah, I'd have chipped some away at. And we've got 3 decent tracks coming up, and quite wide tracks as well, so that'll aid overtaking. But in reality, it's 6 races to go. And yeah, each one of those 6 races, I've got to be looking at to win if I've got a hope of catching him, because I think his lead's quite massive.
Either that, or you will hope that he ends up at the back somewhere, like your teammate Raz Harper. It didn't go well for him today. Were you in VC with him at all, or no idea what happened to him? He seems to have given up at some stage.
speaking to Raz, he was having some real difficulties. He had a self-spin in race 1, which put him back in the pack. He did a mega job recovering. And then in race 2, he was in front of me as we pitted. It shuffled around. And then, yeah, he made another self-spin. And then I think he became victim to too many instant points in the end. So I had to drop out of the race.
And just one more final question. We've done a little bit of an extended interview here for you today because you're the only person that's shown up. For shame, other drivers. Thank you. But it's Bathurst next, and we all know what kind of track Bathurst is. Are you expecting absolute chaos there?
Bathurst will be a great track. I love it. It's a real driver's circuit. I do think because we've got the damage turned off in this league, I don't think it will be as bad as you think it will be because people will be able to kind of hit the walls and bounce off it and carry on. Whereas obviously if they were driving it with full damage turned on, it's very quick and very easy to end a race here at Bathurst. That being said, yeah, I'm looking forward to race 1. Hopefully I can start first. It's a short run to T1, so maybe Aramas won't overtake me next week, but he probably will. And then from there, hopefully if I can get past him and romp off into the lead again, I'll be well happy with that. But yeah, race 2, all bets are off. I've got no idea what will happen going over the mountain on that one. With all the cars and all the different skill levels.
Yeah, definitely going to be a massive pile up at some stage down that mountain, almost guaranteed at Bathurst. But we'll let you go, and yeah, you get yourself a couple of hours practice and race start in now, I think. Yeah, just seems to be that Aramas has got the traction control or the launch control set just so in that Ferrari. But we'll let you love you and leave you. Congratulations on a fantastic race day today, and best of luck next week.
Cheers, fellas. If I can just do a quick shout out just to Phil, just to thank him for all the support as well.
Yeah, no problem. There you go. That's the shout out done. But yeah, congratulations.
Thank you for the hot lap as well too that you did for us at the start as well too, Reese. I know you're in the chat there, and we
yeah, I'd done the 26, and I knew that was good enough for Paul, and I thought, yeah, you know what, I'll entertain him.
Excellent. Thank you, mate.
Put me on the spot a little bit because I'm not very good at this track, so I don't really know the hard corners. But we'll love you and leave you, like I say, and wrap this up. But thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, gents. Thank you.
So there we have it. Another race done. Not many left to go. We've only got Mount Panorama, Suzuka, and Imola to go. So it's starting to get to the business end. Only 3 races to go. Means that Aramas could really have this wrapped up already with this large lead he's got in the championship. It's almost guaranteed that Thiago Reuser has got the AM category wrapped up with his lead and the fact that he's not dropping many points. But yeah, another race week done, Biggles, and another great one in the back.
Yep, we'll fire up the barbecue and we'll be off to Bathurst, because one of my favourite tracks in my neck of the woods backyard. So that's it from myself there. You want to wrap it up there, my friend, and have a lay down?
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. That's all I have to say. And hit the thumbs up and subscribe button if you like what you saw. But thank you very much for everybody who watched, and we'll see you next week.